Hello, my name is Robyn, and I'm here to share with you today the advantages of using eKidz in the classroom. I'm going to be doing this by sharing a presentation with you. And like most teachers, I need a teenager nearby to help me navigate the nuances of technology. But like yourselves, I'm sure we are learning as we go along, and I'm slowly getting better at it. Now, Natasha will have already introduced the platform eKidz to you, as well as how it came about and how it's gone from strength to strength. But as I said before, my role today is to let you know how we can help you. Because as you sit there as a teacher, you'll be only too aware of the challenges that you have in the classroom. And this is where eKidz can help. Because eKidz has been developed closely in line with curriculums, it ticks off the blocks of skills and themes and topics while you're using it in the classroom, so you can be sure that you're doing what you need to be doing and that the students are learning what they need to learn. In addition to this, eKidz has pre- and post-learning activities to make sure that the students are learning along the way and they're developing, and you can formatively assess them as you are using the app. It's available on iPad and Android and on web platforms, so it is accessible to all forms of technology that the student uses in class and at home. But as a teacher, the most important thing for me is that it allows individual learning and flexible learning. So the students who arrive in class that might be a little bit behind the rest are given the space to learn at their own pace. And I'm sure we've all been there where we've not been the best in class, whether it's sport, music, drama, languages, science, or maths, and how if we start believing that we can't do it, how eventually we just give up, which is the worst situation for any student. So by learning at their own pace, they don't have to feel that they have to keep up with everyone else and miss out on what's actually going. And because we're dealing with the age group that we are dealing with, young adults and teenagers and year fives, it's important that this medium of learning engages them, which is why moving away from textbooks, not getting rid of them, but moving away from them, has given us another tool for helping them advance their own learning. So eKidz is on purpose visually appealing, multi-sensory, and most importantly, promote self-regulation, where students can engage in activities and then go back and check them and redo them along the way. Because, as you know, we learn from our mistakes. Just a quick little overview on eKidz. So it is comprised of over 70 texts, which are leveled at different abilities. But in addition to this, if it was just that, it would just be another online textbook or book. But it includes diverse tasks, recording facilities so students can read themselves and listen to themselves reading and compare themselves to the narrator. And of course, the stories are narrated so that students can hear native speaking actors reading and learn how to pronounce. And important for me and for many teachers, it's pretty straightforward to use. Just to give you a brief overview of what the books look like, this is a page from the story The Whale. And as you can see, each page has an animation with text. You can actually change the text, and there's a dyslexia font that helps dyslexic students read more easily. And as the text is narrated by a native speaking voice actor, each word is highlighted as the story goes along. If we look at this top right icon of the headphones, that is if you want to listen to the story. So students can choose what format they want to listen to the story. They can listen to it. The second icon on the below that is the recording function. So as a homework task, you might set students to read a whole story aloud and record it. And you as a teacher can access these recordings remotely and listen to the student and hear how they're progressing and actually have direct input into their pronunciation and, of course, checking to make sure that they've done their homework. The third icon down on the right-hand side is comprehension tests. So when each student has completed reading a book, there's a comprehension test and it's marked in-app and the results are available for you. There's a slide later on shows how you can follow a student's progress. And the student can see which ones they've got wrong and go back and read the story again and redo the test, which is really important because they're self-regulating at that point. And then tying in with writing and thinking skills, the fourth icon on the right represents the creative task that is attached to each of the stories, stimulating either conversation, debate, a writing activity, or even a drama activity. On the left-hand side, this icon is the viewing option, the blue icon in the middle, just below the house. And as a teacher in a classroom, you can choose how you would like to display eKidz on the whiteboard, whether it's a picture-only option or the text-only option without the picture, or the combination of text with picture. And this lends itself to a myriad of starter activities, storyboarding, asking students to identify what's happening in the picture, or if it's text only, getting them to really focus on the grammar and the language. And the third icon down on the left-hand side, blue icon, is a font choice. Like I referred to earlier, students with dyslexia have a dyslexia-friendly font that they can select. In the bottom row, we have the page numbers, the cover page, then page 1, page 2. And finally, crucial for teaching pronunciation in the class and for highlighting specific words, each word that is narrated by the voice actor is highlighted in karaoke style. And as a teacher, if I double click on that word, it's highlighted again and the word is repeated by the voice actor. So we've got that repetitive function. At this point, I'm going to jump into the app itself just to demonstrate to you how I would use it and how I can use it. So this is the front page, and in Bremen, we start off in year 5 on level 4, and there are a range of texts, as you can see, if I scroll across to the other side. I'll jump into the book navigation just to show and demonstrate. This is the front cover page. If I click on the listening item, you can hear it's narrated in this book by an American. Here we have the characters and the sentences. And if I double click on show, it actually demonstrates and repeats the word so that I can repeat it to the class and they can really get to know and understand it. As I get towards the end of the book, there is a timing function where students aren't actually allowed to progress to the next page until they've spent a certain duration on each page to ensure they don't just skip through it, because the app actually records how many pages they've done over what time period. So as a teacher, I can remotely access this information and see how much they've been reading, see how many comprehension tests they've done, access the comprehension tests to see what they've achieved, I can access the student's recording. I can't record in this test sample at the moment. And then, of course, the comprehension tests. Now, the comprehension tests, just like the texts themselves, start off at level 4, pretty simple, straightforward, multiple choice with 3 answers. But as the student progresses through the levels, the tests become harder and there are more multiple choices and they are divided into skill sets. First, basic information retrieval, and then going on to the hows and whys of a text, and where they have to show that they've got some insight into the text. Jumping back to the slideshow, I'm sure you've got questions around that, so feel free to contact, of course, if you have any questions or if you want a close look at the app. But here we are back at the slideshow with the image of what the eKidz looks like. So using technology, we are moving from the students sitting passively at their desk, just listening and then doing and then copying, almost like a car going into a garage and having their benzene, their petrol filled into their heads, where they're just passively receiving. They're actually interactive with eKidz and they're reading and engaging. It's promoting phonological awareness. We've got fluency assessments, as I referred to earlier on. Students record themselves reading into their app, and being AI, their fluency can be assessed, as well as their intonation and the way they say things. Because each student is learning at a different pace, you can have one topic that you're dealing with, for example, animals, and their stories on level 4, whereas there might be a student who's a lot more capable than the rest of the class, and you want them to deal with the same topics and the same skills, but they're at a higher level and you don't want them to get bored. You can then refer them and then put them onto a higher level book about animals, focusing on those skills that you're looking at in class. And the most important thing is that as a teacher, while you're giving the students who need your help the help that they need, you're also still able to assess what other students in the class have done. So reading is important, not only being able to comprehend, but also being able to read aloud and the connection to speech, which is why the speech is pronounced clearly in a variety of accents, and the reading speed varies over levels dependent on the stage the child is at. So in level 1, it's read, the stories are read very slowly, syllable by syllable, so students can phonologically get to grips with the sounds of the language. And then, of course, later on at level 12, it's a lot more fluid and blended, and the students are engaged at a much higher pace. And of course, touchscreen is integral to the function, so students can jump from one task to another. Using language creatively is a great way of assessing how students have actually understood what they've just read, and getting them to do the tasks linked to the stories helps teachers assess what learning has happened. And in assessing this, eKidz also has a built-in reward function where when you visit a student's report page remotely, you can review their work and give them awards for various activities that they've done. Now, most importantly, the teacher assessment page or the student progress report page. As you can see here, we've got student number 1. Teachers can allocate the level the student is going to work at. So we're working at in English, as you can see, it's highlighted in that first screen. And the student is at level 4, and it's the 4th of May. They've read 17% of the books that they have over the past 7 days. They've listened to 17% of the stories. They haven't recorded anything, but they've done 17% of the comprehension tasks. So we can see exactly what the student's done. You can, as a teacher, also control what they have, what level they are in their different subjects. And if they have got recordings, you can then listen to the recordings in this final screen. And another important aspect for teachers, we know how much time it takes to plan lessons and to differentiate them to make sure that each and every student is catered for. And as a teacher, we often fall back on what's tried and tested and that we've been doing over and over and over for the past years because it's easier, because you have so many other jobs to do. So to help educators and teachers come to grips with eKidz and start integrating it into the classroom and as a homework tool, we've developed some lesson plans for use in the classroom that ties in the activities to the curriculum and the stories so that you can tick off those blocks as well as keep the student engaged. Because if you've done the same lesson over and over and over again, you'll start getting bored too. And if the teacher's bored, then invariably the students are going to often pick up on that. The clearly defined levels mean that eKidz is great for homework because students can take it home and work at their own level. You've got remote access to see what they've done, if they've done it, and at what level they've done it. So for afternoon clubs at home and for when you're not at school and you've had to leave some work for a cover teacher to take with your class, it's great for using when you're not there because you can leave the task and the students can get on with the job and you can actually see if the students are doing it in class at the same time. So thank you for listening and for your attention. I really sincerely hope that you give eKidz a try. It really adds that little bit extra to the classroom that makes your life easier and brings a bit of buzz into the classroom and helps to keep students engaged while keeping them on the learning track. Take a look and see just to find out what others think of us. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us and we'll be more than happy to oblige. Thank you for your attention and wishing you a happy summer holiday and all the best for the next school year.